Welcome to Mobile Car Mechanic. Today we're going to be replacing a right side wheel bearing on a 2016 Mazda CX-5. This is going to apply from 2013 to the 2023 generation. Tools needed for the job are going to be a 21 for the lug nuts, 14mm for the hub bolts, and a 32mm to get off the axle nut socket. A jack, some various hammers, a flathead, some pliers, and a socket wrench. And of course, the wheel bearing itself. Alright, we're going to go ahead and jack up our car. Just going to take off the wheel. Just make sure you put it on the notch under here, where the seam weld is. Okay, now that we got it jacked up, we're going to go ahead and take off the lug nuts. They're 21mm. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take off the tire. Try to stick it under the car here, just in case the jack fails. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take off the axle nut, the brake caliper, and the rotor. So let's go ahead and get to that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take off the axle nut. It's a 32mm socket. We're going to go ahead and do this first because if this doesn't come out, then there's no really point in going forward. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove the caliper bracket assembly. They're going to be held in with 2/17s, one here at the top, and then another one right here. So we'll go ahead and get those out and proceed to the next step. Now we're going to wiggle the assembly off. I'm going to use like a cardboard box here just to lay the caliper down. Alright, so to give me a little bit more slack on the brake line, I'm going to go ahead and remove this clip that holds it in place. We'll get it started out by just using a flathead. Alright. Let's use some pliers, or in this case, vice grips. I'll wiggle it out. Once you do that, just go ahead and slide the brake line pull the brake line forward, and then pull it out. I'm going to lay it here. This is going to give us more space because we're going to need to go ahead and access bolts behind the axle that hold the hub in. So now we'll just go ahead and remove this rotor. Alright, so now we're going to go to the back here. Okay, so there's going to be 4 bolts here, and they're all 14mm. There's going to be one right here, one right there, right here, and then another one, might be hard to see, but right there. So let's go ahead and get those loose. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start with the top one right here. This will be a bit tight. Bolt's loose. It's not going to pop all the way out because the axle's still kind of in the way. I'm just going to leave it there since it's already loose out of the threads. Now we'll go ahead and do the same for this one right here. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and jump on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and turn the wheel the other way so we can get to them a lot easier. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and tackle the two that are on this side. So the top one here and the bottom one right here where the axle is. Okay, now we're going to go down to the bottom one here. All right, now you know they're all loose when you don't see the threads sticking out anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and try to wiggle it off, but we're probably gonna have to hit it with a hammer. Yeah, it's not gonna come out, so we'll go ahead and get a hammer on it. All right, we're just gonna kind of hit the hub in different directions. Axle is going to be hooked to it. You hear that noise? Reason why we're replacing this thing. So now we're going to go ahead and get the new part, match it up to all these. Might help to have the screws kind of just hold them in place. Go ahead and do that. Now we're going to go ahead and get the new part. Alright, so this is the old bearing and this is the new one. We just kind of wanted to verify that they matched up. So the holes seem to match up, so we're going to go ahead and put it on. You need to make sure the splines go onto the axle itself. This will be fun. You have to fight a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and start tightening the bolts slowly to kind of pull the wheel bearing in. Okay, I'm just going to kind of alternate. Now I'm going to go diagonally on the bottom to the other side and then try to get it to go in straight. Alright, so to make things easier, I put the wheel straight so that the axle's not blocking the area to access these bolts. So basically I'm going to go in a crisscross pattern. So I'm going to start here, do this, and do this. So it tightens evenly, and we make sure that the wheel hub is going in smoothly and not binding. So I'm going to go ahead and start back. I'm going to go start at the bottom here since we got it threaded in. So let's do that. All right, now I'm going to go back to this one here because what's happening is it's going in an angle. We want to go make sure it's going in straight. So I'm going to go back on this side, tighten it up a little bit. Okay, so since we have it diagonally screwed in from the top and the bottom, you can now see that this is flush to the actual spindle. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten this guy and the one diagonally from it. Okay, now we're going to go to the bottom one here. All right, so now it's tightened, we're completed. Again, just make sure that the surface is all flat. So far, so good. Now the next step is going to go ahead and put that 32mm axle nut back in place. All right, just go ahead and make sure the axle nut is nice and threaded. Now that we got it done, now we're going to go ahead. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put on the rotor. Just match it up to the holes on the lugs. This would be a great time to replace your rotors if you're going to do them. The owner chose not to do that, so I'm just going to do this. Now we're going to go ahead and put the caliper bracket with the pads on there. Just going to match it up to the rotor. Once it's on there, we're going to get our 17mm screws or bolts, rather, and just kind of position it until you match it up. And do the same with the bottom. Alright, now that we have them threaded in, let's go ahead and tighten them down. Alright, now we can go ahead and tighten it. Okay, go ahead and wrap this back into place, just slide through there. Once it's held in place, we'll just go ahead and slide the clip. And then just give it a nice little tap. Make sure the brake line's in place. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and put the tire on, and we'll be done. We'll get our tire underneath. Okay, just thread them in by hand. Okay, now we're just going to go in a diagonal pattern, a star pattern. So here, 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 here. Just slowly screw it in. Okay, now we're going to tighten it for real. Thank you for watching Mobile Car Mechanic. Today we just replaced the passenger side wheel bearing on the 2016 Mazda CX-5. It's going to apply from 2013 to 2023. See you on the next one.